Welcome back. Love Boat Project, episode number 48. 52 away from 100. Get out of here.
48 away from zero.
40 away from zero. No, that's true. I am your host, Mike Taylor. Along with me is my co-host, as always. Ahoy, Mike. How are you this week?
Hi, Mike. I feel like a lot of these episodes recently, the last episode was named The Terrible 20s for a reason. We've really had, disappointing efforts. Some would say the last few episodes of this season, you could smash it, trash it.
No.
Take it with a hammer and bash it.
I was wondering how long it was going to take for you to begin the musical
there's more, my
onslaught.
friend. There's more, my friend. But I would say this one is not one of those.
No, I agree.
Good.
I agree. I happily watched this episode 3 times.
A pleasure, right?
Pleasure.
Just an absolute flew by.
Flew by, had all the elements we want.
Dare I say, and we can get into it as we go, dare I say one of the more rewatchable Love Boat episodes that we've seen?
Well, I think the conversation later is going to be interesting of where this falls in the, goat status amongst episodes. But this is a strong one, man.
It was nice. I think you get so, I know I do. We get so jaded by all this garbage. And so when you get something, it's just like, I really enjoy. And when I did the rewatch, I was like, really? We're done already?
Yeah, it flew by. It flew by. It was entertaining. It had that wah-wah kind of feel. Yeah. Everyone played their part.
Oh, everybody was good too.
Oh, yeah, everyone was great. It was just a strong, interesting. This is episode number 25 of the Love Boat, season 2. 2 things to mention. First thing, real quick. No Jolson and Barr this week in Bear.
Yeah. Wonder why it was so good.
You wonder why it was so good. And then number 2, there's been some confusion about episode numbering. In fact, we got in an email. Keep up the great work. Love the show. Did you guys skip the Valentine's Day episode that aired 2/20/1979? Funny Valentine, the wallflower, a home is not a home, or did I just miss it? So I sent him, here it is, episode number 45, the robot can't go in the pool. And he's saying it looks like on the Paramount Plus app, the episode was listed before the one, like they had it backwards, which isn't the first time we've seen this.
No, and a similar thing happened with this one too. So I watched the first viewing on the Paramount Plus, and it is flipped. And I think there were 3 this season that were flipped. And I was aware of it this year enough to make sure me and you had it straight, and you still watched the wrong episode one time. So just for future reference, everybody, we go by the IMDb episode listing order. So if you go on Love Boat and you go to the episode guide, that's the order we go to. Now we, at this point, do a pretty good job of telling you what the next week's episodes are about. So if you start to watch something this week and didn't have Meryl Stubing's life being threatened, you're in the wrong show.
Well, so also too, underneath the info for each episode, like I've added the original air date. So a lot of times you can kind of match those up as well, just to make it a little easier. Just so you don't get it out of sequence. Yeah. But again,
and next year I will. Next year I will insist that we decide one way or the other. I feel like we're doing King James versions with the episode numbers. I don't think we should split the 2-parters.
Fair enough.
So I think next season we should go with that, because I think, and also just since we're doing business here, I have slowly started the actual count of how many episodes we're going to do. And I texted you this the other day.
With the new system or the old system?
The
counting
of how many of these episodes we're going to do, but I am going to try and break it out with the 90 minutes and the 2-parters. And I did text you the other day, there's a couple seasons in the middle here where we have 4 2-parters, which is just a crime against humanity. I don't even know if that also means we're getting some 90 minutes. So
it's just mean.
That's not right. So maybe we'll get a third co-host for those. Just somebody else can do the notes.
Incorporate AI into our lives.
Oh no.
Oh no. AI hosts. Ooh.
You know what? Maybe we'll just play the episode. and we'll just talk over it. So.
Yeah. So season 2, episode 25, episode titled "The Sounds of Silence," Cyrano de Bricker and Murder on the High Seas. Again, I liked all 3 of these storylines.
Yeah.
I didn't love them all, but I thought they were all great. They were all great. They were fun. They were strong.
Yeah, the ones that were like, there were storylines in this episode, especially I would say the non-Sounds of Silence ones.
Yeah,
because there was probably a clear number 1 storyline. Well, I don't know though. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, left in the hands of the.
What would number 1 be?
So I was going to say Sounds of Silence was number 1, probably just based on screen time, but there were 3 songs in there, so the screen time is a little skewed. Meanwhile, you had 3 of the 5 crew members in another one, so I guess it's hard to say. I don't know. I enjoyed them all.
You can make an argument for Murder on the High Seas. Yeah, because they were all, and some were funny. Yeah, I agree. I think they were just all strong. Original air date for this is March 17th, 1979. Again, in our regular time slot, Saturday night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day, indeed. Let's see if
why didn't they have a St. Patty's episode?
Like they dye the Pacific green, one of those kind of things.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
I guess it's not a big enough. Well, it would just be a drinking fest, right? It would
Aaron
be
Express.
Like the Aaron Express.
Just do an express. You just have a yellow school bus pull up to the dock and just dump out a bunch of Northeast Philadelphia teenagers. Yeah.
Give them all a bottle of water and like 1 Advil and be like, we'll pick you up in 3 days. Goodbye.
I mean, there was nothing funnier in our old neighborhood, which was near a university that would have this bunch of 20-year-olds trying to figure out how to get home. It was just like at like 4 p.m. So
I remember walking to brunch on a Saturday morning and walking past and over a young gentleman, a young college student, throwing up all over the sidewalk. And I remember saying, hey, can you at least do it on the grass? It's noon. Can you just get it on the grass?
What would really add to that nausea is a boat.
Oof. The sloppiest episode ever. Epicac, it'd be one of the what's on CBS from 9 to 11. Mike, we have a TV movie. You know how I feel about this.
Thank God.
The TV movie's called Willa.
Willa?
Willa. W-I-L-L-A.
Not Willow.
No, Willow.
Okay.
Willa. Never saw this one coming. A truck stop waitress, a mother raising 2 young kids alone, is determined to make a better life for her family by pursuing a new career as a trucker.
They
love truckers on a Saturday night in 1979.
Another trucker?
Another truck. You got, Chips. I mean, you look at all the trucking.
All the vehicle shows on Saturday nights. It's a huge vehicle night. You got a boat, obviously.
A boat.
You got BJ and the Bear.
Chips.
The American Girls were killed in a plane.
Well, we can only speculate.
You got this. We had Sweet Cheeks and Trucker Annie a few weeks ago. We had Andy Griffith going to the moon.
That's right. And then you have Frontier World is the other opposite. So it's either we're in the frontier, it's Centennial, or it's some sort of trucker movie.
Yeah, exactly. What if they should have had trucks? They should have had trucks on the frontier. That would have been the greatest show of all time.
It would have made that whole Porsche thing seem real silly. Real dumb.
Do you know who played Willa?
Funny you say that. Actress named Deborah Raffin played Willa, co-starring Cloris Leachman.
Wow.
God knows who Cloris Leachman played, like, in this. I don't. Her mom. Her mom. Yeah.
Another waitress at the diner, or the lady who runs the trucking company because her husband passed away.
Oh, Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball on this next person in the movie. It's really, I like how you have that figured out, but John Amos is the next co-star.
Wow.
Maybe that's where he went when he left Florida. He went on to hit the road. And finally, Diane Ladd.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big cast.
Dare I say star-studded? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know where these people fit in this movie, but
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's on the Patreon.
Yeah, it is. Check it out. 9:00. So that was 9 to 11 on CBS, 9 to 10 on NBC. BJ and the Bear, episode titled Deadly Cargo. What do you think it's about, Mike? If the episode's called Deadly Cargo, give me your
was that last
episode.
Was that last time that he had a coffin, but it was filled with dirt from Transylvania?
Yeah.
So you would think it wouldn't be another coffin.
I don't know.
Oh, not another coffin. Is he like smuggling dead people?
No, it's very X-Files. I'll say that.
Oh, wow.
This week. So last week, Transylvania. Okay. Now this week, BJ transports a mystery cargo to Washington, D.C. for use by a female scientist at a Senate hearing. That's it.
What a dramatic presentation to the
what is
subcommittee on lady science.
I don't even know what that could be. Oh, caramba. Right? Well, speaking of a synopsis, let's hear the synopsis on this fantastic episode this week. Isaac overhears mystery writers researching a book and thinks they're plotting to kill Meryl. Fair? I think it's spot on.
Isaac is a Hall of Fame overhearer.
He's got ears. He's got like bat ears or wolf ears. One of those. Who has better ears?
Bartender
Bats
ears.
or wolves. A rock star falls for a deaf woman.
See in the dark?
Yeah, but can they? Or is it like that sonar thing? Like Daredevil. You know what I mean? I mean, not that they fight crime. They're not lawyers when they're not fighting crime during the day, because they're not awake during the day. How could a bat possibly be a lawyer? A rock star falls for a deaf woman. We're going to put an asterisk next to that story. We'll get back to that in a moment. Doc's honeymooning friend Mitzi thinks her new husband Vinny doesn't really love her. Straightforward.
Yeah. And accurate, I would say.
No. Guest stars. Well, let's just get right down to it. Sonny Bono as Phil Backstrom and Deacon Dark. Oh boy, Mike. Deacon Dark. Where do we start with Deacon Dark?
I tell you, Sonny Bono was not cashing a check this week. He brought it.
No, there is no Norman Mr. Fell Award this week for this guy.
And here's the thing. Wow. Now, his first appearance was pretty whatever. He was fine. But that came in episode 3, which was the best episode we saw this season. So Sonny Bono is the key to season 2 success, apparently. Yeah.
He was so good in this episode. He was so good. Yeah. He played 2 different characters too, which I loved.
Yeah.
It was we'll see him again in season 3, and we'll see him twice in season 5. So I'm guessing that's a 2-parter. Excellent.
Well, and again, his second appearance here, I would say, barring a major upset, he has locked up a stubby for this season.
Well, I mean, he might be multiple. I mean, there was more than one song.
There was a lot.
He just.
Oh, by the way,
just be the best. Yeah.
Best musical performance is going to be like the hardest category this year. I have strong opinions on a lot of them.
Yeah, that's like. I wish we could get them all to perform it live.
Clip show.
Clip
show.
Oh.
How long? I wonder how long an Instagram reel can be. We can just do 17 minutes of clips.
Do all the stubbies via Instagram reels and just release them 30 seconds at a time. Charlie Callis as Vinny Del Risi. Interesting note. He was the voice of Elliot the Dragon in Disney's Pete's Dragon. Oh, I don't remember Pete's Dragon being a gangster.
I would not have.
Elliot sleeps with the fishes.
A real degenerate gambler.
Yeah, real. Everything's a gambling pun. You bet your life.
And you know what I liked about Vinny was he was a regional gambler. It seems like all his big losses were on LA teams. So.
And it's weird. It's like he brought his own shady individual to interact with on the boat. Like that weird guy. Nobody knows who he was. Like who's this guy? There's bookies on the boat. Put it on the wooden horse. Put it on the pink horse. He was an actor comedian known for his work with Mel Brooks, Jerry Lewis, and Dean Martin. Artie Johnson's back. Artie Johnson is back.
Not Paul Williams.
Not Paul Williams. That's what I should have written first. One of the painters returns to the boat. Mike, we're going to see him 6 more times.
Great.
6 more times.
Great.
I am
guess
fine
what?
with that.
He was amazing. He was amazing in this role.
He was the opposite, maybe not opposite of what he was before, but this guy's got range on this boat.
It's been a while. It's been a while since It's been a while since I've written out quotes, like direct quotes, and I have like 4 or 5.
Same.
Great.
The things he said to him, he was fantastic in this.
Yep.
Fantastic. Might be an award. We'll see. Peter Lawford. It was said that he was famous for being famous. Member of the Rat Pack. I thought he was good. In this episode. He's good.
I was disappointed that there wasn't a separate portal for his eyebrows.
I was disappointed that they didn't actually have a plot to take out Meryl, to be honest with you. I was all in. I was like, yes. I'm eating popcorn. Like, let's go. New captain. I'm about to hit the social medias. Has anyone seen this? Oh my gosh. #spoiler alert.
It'd be funny if we started all this and we know so little about the show that we don't realize that they murdered the captain in cold blood in season 2.
The entire crew. Wow. Vicky's on a ship by herself.
Vicky.
It's a ship of ghosts. Jill St. John is Mitzi Del Risi. I'm a big James Bond fan. I knew who she was. She's the best known as the first American Bond girl from Diamonds Are Forever, 1971.
The name was very familiar. That's probably from what? So,
boy, they didn't match. Meaning, she's a frickin' Bond girl, and this guy seems so much. You know what I mean? Like it was a weird pairing.
Yeah,
not knocking the story. It was an odd pairing to me.
And I think Mr. Bricker agreed with you. So.
Oh, she's right up. Right up Bricker's alley.
Yep.
Because she looks who played Ginger? They looked a lot alike.
Tina Louise. Yeah, there was a similarity. Yeah, he does. So. It's funny for all your jokes about he likes them big and everything. That might be the type because Patty Duke kind of looked like that too.
Yeah, that is a good point. We're going to see her 3 more times on the show. Seasons 3, 4, and 5. Dana Winter as Lillian Smith. She was in one of those actresses that was in like every show in the 60s and 70s. She was everywhere. Again, we will see her again in season 4. Mike, there's a huge potential Kernsing here. I'm not going to say it's a Kearns because there's a bit of a
He
doesn't have a speaking role, but Sheila Lenham as Sarah, and it's the only acting credit she ever had.
Yeah, she's a instructor, was a teacher at a local college in California for the hearing impaired. So she's not even really an actress.
So is that why you don't get a portal unless you?
I mean, it's a Kernsing. It's definitely.
I felt like it was a Kernsing.
I mean, Christ, there's a song about her in the show.
They used her, handicapped as as the first title of the stories. She's the silence in silence. Or and sounds and no sound. I don't know. Yeah.
We're not talking about 17 cast episode either. You absolutely could have put her in that. I agree.
I thought this was egregious. The Kernsing.
I would say
this was terrible.
Do we have a Kernsing scale? Is it like 1 to 10? How do we grade it? It's at least an 8 or 9 on the Kearns scale.
I would completely agree. I mean, this and the little boy who could cry on command. right? I think he got the cleansing too. But this one was, she was the leading lady in the story. That kid could cry, big old deer tears.
That episode's only a couple weeks ago, and I forgot it already. It was
I just remember that kid could cry. Boy, he could turn on the waterworks. Good Lord. And finally, just want to bring this up again. Our good friend Anderson, the steward, he is played by James Dobson, is back again. So
little more Southern this week, I felt.
A little more butt of the joke this week, too, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
A little more Southern.
Yeah.
They made him kind of a character. He would be just a quick comic relief kind of.
I agree.
Here, take
this. This feels like the easiest thing to do is just have 5 or 6 of these guys and just run them around. Yeah.
Have Tim Conway on the boat doing it one week.
Oh, Tim Conway would be an excellent Anderson the steward.
Oh, I love Tim Conway.
Oh, jeez.
I like when he did the really slow guy. Remember when he would take those little tiny steps?
It would be funny too
on golf.
if he's on there and Harvey Corbin is just cracking up in the background. So
yeah, that shout out Tim Conway. So those are our guest stars. Anything else you'd like to talk about before we get on the boat, sir?
Charlie Callis had a little bit of a comic pose in the portals. He kind of was like doing a side look or whatever.
Is he hamming it up?
A little bit. It was funny. He opens it like side profile, so you think he's really going to ham it up, and then he only kind of sort of hammed it up. But I guess he was saving that for the episode.
He was doubting himself. He was waiting for this his fine acting in the next 44 minutes of cinema we're about to watch.
Maybe he had lost on the California Golden Seals game.
Attendance tonight 2,345. Poor seals. All right, and with that, that's what we should do when we get on the boat. We should do a seal sound. I mean, it just seems like natural.
This show should be just nothing but sound effects. We would have to do them at the end.
Emojis and sound effects. So effective in an audio. And it'll be twice as long. It'll be great. Oh, all right, let's get on the boat. Julie has hired an act unseen, and his name is Deacon Dark, and he is awesome. He has 7 gold records. His concerts are SRO, standing room only.
SRO?
Yes, his concerts are SRO. Gopher says his name is on more t-shirts than Fruit of the Loom. All right, Gopher, we're off to a hot start. Let's go.
Yep.
I'm excited. Deacon Dark rules.
Did she say that a jazz band canceled?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I think
maybe it was
slow sax, soft sax.
Could have been slow sax, but it was solo slow sax. Isn't that jazzy?
Oh man,
what do you need, Kenny?
Poor Julie getting stood up by Jim and Jammy again.
Well, I think that band they all decided to become truckers this week. They left their job. They decided to be with John Amos. Talked them into being truckers. I feel like all of y'all got truckers inside of you. You know, it's a whole inspirational.
I hope the next musical guest that is an actor on the show is the guy from Convoy.
Who are you? Are you the rubber duck? I sure am. Woo!
Hey, Big Bear.
I love it. Oh, that's what this boat needs. CB handles and Convoy. Enter the awesome Deacon Dark and his manager, Marty Austin. And let me just paint a picture. If you're not watching this at home or watching these episodes along with us or ahead of us, whatever, this is a man in Kiss-like makeup, but his makeup is so much cooler than Kiss because they incorporate his mustache into the makeup.
Yep. He's got a hat.
A lot of sharp angles. He's got a hat.
Yeah.
He likes to stick his tongue out.
Ugh. And he's still Sonny Bono, so he's very small.
He's a tiny, tiny little demon. Yeah. Is what he is. It's something to see. That's wild. And so Marty Austin, his manager, is telling the press that Deacon Dark is going on a well-earned vacation after a successful European tour. I'm all about it. Let's go.
And 2 weeks in Vegas, I believe, too.
Vegas. The deacon hands Marty the snake he was holding. The snake's name?
Irving.
Irving. Great name for a snake.
Irving the snake. Now a contender for best animal.
That's all we need. Oh, it's already highlighted. Oh, potential Stubby Award winner, Irving the snake. They're staying in 351 and 353 on the promenade deck. Gopher's not even done explaining where the cabin is. And Mr. Dark is out of there. He's in the beeline on I don't know if he's going to go cast spells. I don't know what he's doing, but he's cool. He's the coolest guy I've ever seen on this ship. I got to be honest. Name someone cooler than this guy on the ship.
Is he cooler than
Mike
Bob
in the
Crane?
wheelchair? Other than Mike in the wheelchair, he was just cool.
Yeah, Mike Kelly and Bob Crane are the only contenders, I think, for cooler than this.
This guy is the coolest thing on the boat.
Yeah.
Marty asked Julie to take Irving for a walk and then bring him to their cabin, and he hands the snake to her. Mike, I have a huge aversion to snakes. Like, it makes my skin crawl. There's zero chance, but it's all right. Julie's not going to have to take care of the snake for long, because here comes Durka. Anderson the steward is back.
Anderson.
They're all happy to see it.
Yep.
Julie pawns Irving on him and asks him to buy a drink for him, and Gopher suggests a grasshopper, which at first glance I thought made me giggle, but then I went, oh, that's not really funny at all. It doesn't even make any sense. Why would a snake eat? A snake's not going to eat a grass. I mean, I guess theoretically, like a mouse,
mouse, right? Yeah,
some sort of rodent, rodent on the rocks. Enter Julie's friend Sarah, and they make it known that she's deaf right away. They make no bones about Sarah's deaf. It looks like Julie knows a little bit of sign language. And Gopher immediately starts flirting. Does she, though, know sign language?
Well, but I think they covered it a little bit because she kept telling her to slow down, which was a nice touch, because it was because it's like the thing where if all of a sudden Julie could read it right away, it's like, all right, well, but this is a little more
slow down. I feel like that was Julie's crutch, because she knows 3 things in sign language. Because she would sign, she'd go, I live by the water, and I grew up in a small community. That's it. Finger touch.
I think that the princess line needs to look into whatever the friends and family discount is, because Julie's up to 7 or 8 friends on the boat this year. Every other, the Karen Maynard, Murphy. I know she was working, but still, the girl with the scar.
But she, at least this one, had her own cabin.
Yeah.
She wasn't being a freeloader.
Yeah. That's true. A lot of them slept in Julie's cabin or a box.
They couldn't afford the $39 ticket. Jeez.
Oh, it's expensive this week.
This week it's
cruise is actually very expensive this week.
I mean, the Deacon's on there. Are you kidding me?
The Deacon, but later Artie Johnson's we're doing this to defray costs. So it's it's
they're
a very
popping bottles. It's a huge. I said I'm no sign language expert, but I don't think Julie really knows any sign language. Isaac is deep into reading a murder mystery novel called Murder in Eden, and he is telling everyone exactly how many pages he has left. Yep. I have 7 pages left in this book.
Yeah.
All right. Doc's old
friend
Mitzi.
There's no better job to catch up on your reading than bartender. The first couple hours on the ship, he could have finished this no problem. He didn't have to be walking around he's waiting for the moon expert to run him over.
I wonder I wonder how fast people go to the bar. Is there a delay boarding before everything's up and running? You can't just hey, I'm walking on the boat, but I'm just going to go shoot skeet right now. You can't. I'm sure there's a delay.
Maybe it's maybe it's did you ever go to your wedding was kind of like this, but those weddings where the bar is on the premises, and sometimes they'll slip you one, sometimes they won't. Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm just curious to see, because in that case, I can imagine Isaac wouldn't be that busy, like you're saying. He'd be at the bar, being able to get his last 7 pages in.
7 pages. I mean, you don't have to read it like he's reading it. That's ridiculous.
Maybe he's an exceptionally slow reader. He's been working on that book for 2 years.
Oh no, Isaac. Well, he is very
Half-page
busy.
at a
He's the
time.
only
He's very
bartender, it
busy.
seems like. So
That is true. It's a lot of Doc's old friend Mitzi arrives. She's on her honeymoon with her husband Vinny Del Risi. And then it was just like, oh, I see Vinny and I see what they're going with, and I'm like, there's gonna be a problem here. Like, this guy's not gonna.
Doc did this.
Mhm.
Doc did this. I'm trying to think what episode it was. Oh, it was the twins episode where they came in and then the husbands came in and he had a reaction. But this is similar. When he finds out that this is her husband, he's like,
hands.
oh, it's just so great.
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. She tells Vinny, Doc and I were very close at one time. And I just put yuck, like nobody wants to hear that in this situation. Nobody. Vinny doesn't want to hear it.
No husband
nobody
wants to hear it.
Oh,
yeah,
God, no.
Yeah. No husband wants to hear that.
Vinny's got zero time for Doc, and he just, let's go to the cabin. Vinny's not messing around. Vinny is the equivalent of a caveman. Like, he's basically dragging her by her hair to the cabin.
Yeah. Yeah, he's basically the Italian caveman. So.
Yeah, he's, hey, Brana, hey. Mr. and Mrs. Smith arrive and ask to speak to the cabin. Here's something. Joke coming, Mike. Julie lies and says he's busy on the bridge. Here we go. Here comes my bridge joke this week. Stubing hasn't seen a bridge since almost running over a few children during his boozy phase. Hey-oh. Come on.
Oh, poor Meryl.
Poor Meryl. Mrs. Smith tells Mr. Smith that the Lido deck might be the, quote, perfect place for murder.
The fact that they made these guys like not just British, but like the most British, just like this would have been awful if these were American people. Like it was just clearly
with like
Britain all the way.
Yeah, with like a Southern accent wouldn't have worked. They had to be British.
The only way it would have been Southern would have been like if it would have been like Truman Capote, like, all dead, all
like the Southernist,
right? Yeah.
Or Foghorn Leghorn. You might have been able to.
Or
do
Anderson.
That.
Maybe if Anderson was back next week, it would be that level of Southern. So
I could see that. He writes murder mystery books next week.
Captain, I'm around your murder.
Mr. Smith replies to Perfect Place for Murder by saying, you might have something. Interesting. We hear the boat horn, and we see some stock ticker tape footage. Not a huge deal, but it was kind of different. You didn't no close-ups, just some sort of pan shot. I mean, I'm fine with it. We got the portals. I don't need double duty. I just sort of, I don't know. I just really noticed
This episode did a couple things in terms of time management that you could call padding. In a worse episode, we would call it padding. One of them was obviously the fact that there were 3 songs, right? That is a version of padding to have 3 songs.
2 of the songs were the same song.
Well, they didn't play the whole second song though.
Enough of it.
They came in
saying,
second stanza, but well, it's a hit, Mike. It's heavy rotation. But another thing they did, which was very interesting, was I think all the acts were evenly divided by time. I think they were all about 12 minutes because I remember twice when it was going to commercial, I paused it to see what time it was because I was shocked that it was already the end of the act. So maybe these are things that we need to incorporate going forward.
Keep in mind this episode, I didn't mention it before. This is a single director episode. And the director of this episode,
Paul Stanley,
he directed. His name was Richard Kynan, and he directed a total of 66 episodes of The Love Boat.
Wow!
So
I mean, that was one of your best points in the history of this show. Was the single director makes so much of a difference just in terms of the flow. Obviously, the continuity, the fact that it feels like all 3 of these storylines were on the same boat at the same time.
It's important. Yeah. I think it is, because then you don't want that. You don't want it off balance either. Because then you're like, Jesus, the story won't end. Enough of this. But yeah, I thought it was executed really well with these stories. The deacon is in his cabin complaining about having to dress up in a ridiculous stage outfit. Sir, that's not a ridiculous stage outfit. That outfit rules.
I do like that he complained about it, though, because it is ridiculous that he wore that onto the boat, right? But
completely ridiculous, because nobody would have known who he was if he just walked in. His manager, Marty, basically tells him to shut it, because that ridiculous outfit pays the bills. This is when I'm really paying attention to what Marty is saying. He says he's booked, plus he tells the deacon he's booked him for a special appearance on the Acapulco Lounge. Deacon's not happy. He wants to rest. Come on. That's Phil talking. That's not the deacon talking.
I mean, those pipes. I mean, really, his argument should be, this is an incredible come down from a sold out tour in Europe in 2 weeks in Vegas.
To a crowd of 400, maybe.
I mean, let's look at some of the, fine acts that have preceded him this year. The Great Briar and
palm reading, the
Jam and
tiniest
Jimmy,
balloon pop,
Vincent Price. It's like a washed up illusionist. Like
Richard Dawson. You know what I mean? Richard Mulligan.
That wasn't booked.
Oh, that was
Dawson
just impromptu.
Right?
You're right. You're right. Deacon agrees to perform. It says no snakes, no costumes, no tarantulas. He says, I don't need gimmicks. I just want to say, hey, Phil. Hold on. There's Phil, right? Who stinks. And then there's the deacon, who is awesome. Okay. There's no middle ground here in my view. So Phil in Deacon's makeup is not acting very Deacon-like, is saying, I don't need this. I just want to sing my song. And Marty goes, oh yeah? He says, you're not a singer. You're a friggin' attraction. He didn't say friggin', but I just threw that in there.
You know who's a singer? Frank Sinatra's a singer.
Frank Sinatra's a singer.
Lou Rawls is a singer.
That's a singer right there.
Yeah, right
you,
there.
Sir. The deacon said that he's a sideshow. And Phil sadly starts taking his makeup off.
He slithers away like Irving.
Irving's hammered somewhere drinking grasshoppers with Anderson, the steward. I don't see him inside. And now where we hear Marty lays into him a little and says, hey, dummy. A year and a half ago, you were an aging rock star who couldn't get arrested. Today you have $500,000 in the bank and you're a star. And who got you there? You damn right, Phil. Stop acting like a little baby.
I think it's $1.5 million in the bank. I think you shortchanged him.
Oh, did I?
I think so.
I figured $500,000 in 79 because you might as well. I mean,
yeah, he's an oil baron.
Oof! Come on, Phil. Get it together, buddy. You got something awesome going. Don't.
I feel like you are already setting up the fact that you don't think Phil Backstrom is a fine songwriter.
Nice. Look, write the songs. Let the deacon sing them. You know what I mean? Just back off the singing.
I don't think the deacon singing Sarah would have been a great song.
With spiders and the snake, the drunk
Irving?
snake on Irving, the drunk snake on grasshoppers. Come on. With flames and pyro, that guy can make anything cool. Phil stinks. It's the worst. Just like let the deacon handle things. We see Isaac walking on the Lido deck, still reading his book. How many more pages do you think he has, Mike, at this point?
Doesn't he say 3 at some point?
3. Doesn't really matter though, but he says 3. Gopher approaches him and does his best Stubing impression, which is funny because remember with one of the first episodes he did a Stubing impression and they just dubbed Stubing's voice. So does everyone think like, boy, your Stubing impression really sucks this year? Like what happened?
I mean, it sounds like it's coming out of your mouth more, but
yeah, it's weird. It doesn't have that. It's weird. Isaac says he only has 3 more pages to go, and here comes the real Stubing. In shorts, no less. Stubing asks Isaac if he's been reading Murder in Eden. Isaac's like, no, I just found it. Like, nice panic in there, Isaac. Yeah, I only have 3 pages to go. Stubing takes the book and says, good, I wanted to read it. Isaac feels like a dummy, I bet. Like,
why did Isaac like panic read? Steubing wasn't mad. He just asked him the question.
It just shows you he's a freaking wild card, dude. You don't never
I mean,
know what he's going to do.
Isaac reading a book is the least egregious not working at work that this crew has ever done. Like, so
100%.
you know,
I mean, let's not forget Gopher smuggled a chimpanzee on the boat for a few days. Like, let's not.
I mean, like a month ago, how much work do you think Gopher was getting done a month ago when he was just having long, elaborate daydreams in the middle of the day? Like,
he just orders the largest posters he can find. Now, I need to be able to see each individual pore on her face. Good Lord. Here comes Mitzi in a crazy revealing bathing suit, too. It was crazy. She says she wants to be romantic with Vinny, but he says, forget about it. He's not in the mood.
After 2.5 years, I don't call it a honeymoon. I think of it as more of a trip, which is something that would get you shot, I think, if you said that today.
He sees this as more of a trip than a honeymoon. And Mitzi accuses him of being ashamed of her. Can I just say this? I do like the story and everything else. It's not like you famously introduced me to a phrase that I use not too often because I don't want to use that card too often. It's you know who I was when you met me.
Yeah.
You know? Isn't this a perfect case of like, shouldn't you have known who he like?
Yeah.
None of this is coming by after 2 years.
And do you think that Vinny was a different person 2.5 years ago?
Like, what did he banged his, he was a successful businessman working in corporate America. He bumped his head and he thinks he's in a mob movie now. I don't know what happened to him.
Did you know that you can tell somebody that I'll give you $10 and if the Rams win, I get 20 back? It's like he just discovered gambling in the most innocent way.
He's like, aside from these fake horses running around a pool, real horses run too. You could. Jeez. She offers to get in the jacuzzi with him and starts mumbling about how he took a bath. He starts mumbling how he took a bath on the Lakers game.
Yep.
Enter gambling puns. She asks him to suggest something. And just then, there's an announcement that the casino is now open. And you see the pure look of joy in Vinny's eyes. He says, here's a C note. Buy yourself something nice. You could buy something nice at the gift shop for $100. I'll see you at dinner. I'm assuming this is early in the day. Well, afternoon maybe.
Could have been like right away. Yeah. So.
Oh, boy. Deacon Dark has taken off all of his makeup. Boo. He's now stupid Phil. He puts on his normal, his Phil clothes. Because, you want to put on some bell bottoms and a nice shirt to go hang out poolside.
Oh, right. Because you want to be in Deacon Dark makeup in the pool. You'd ruin the pool.
Well, no, he took his makeup off. Nobody would know.
I'm saying, like, so you want him to dress like Deacon Dark without the makeup?
No, I'm saying dress like you're going to the pool.
Oh. Well, he wasn't going to the pool. He was hanging out at the cabana lounge.
That's true. He introduces himself as Phil Backstrom. Boo. To Julie and her deaf friend Sarah. Okay. A lot of shots changing here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are strolling the Lido deck now, talking about the best ways to murder the captain of a ship, and suspect skeet shooting would make a good accident.
They reference that Steubing. They must have heard the announcement or seen it on a pamphlet that Steubing is like officiating the skeet shooting today.
Oh, is that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah. So what is that?
How do you officiate? Whether you hit the target or you don't?
The eagle eyes of the captain.
Isn't it sort of self-officiating?
Yeah, the plate breaks or not. It's just
like what? Yeah, what do you? That does sound like a case for Dr. Eyes. Like, did the plate break? Yes, it did. No, it didn't.
Steubing hates when a plate breaks. That's something that could have been used for a pastry.
Did we check it to see if there was a donut on it first? Or the skeet look, the things they shoot look too much like donuts. He can't help but be a little upset. God help me if that's a Boston cream. Isaac freaks. He hears this and he's freaking out. Like his imagination's on.
Yeah.
He's still in that book. He runs comically. Like he runs like Woody from Toy Story to Doc's office. He's doing that whole thing. He warns him that the Smiths want to kill the captain. Get the popcorn ready. Let's go, Smiths. And we go to our first break. Strong first segment.
I don't, it's fine. And it ended up kind of evening out. And I guess I realized why they did it at the end. It's weird seeing Isaac basically playing Gopher this week. This is basically
that's a very good point.
A Gopher. Now, about that. No, good on Ted Lang. He made it work.
He could do it.
Isaac is not usually this goofy by himself. Like he'll be goofy with Gopher, but to be solo goofy was
he's the goofiest in this too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we always say that give Isaac more things to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a situation where he's like, just give me something to do.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? An article came out recently about that. He was in an interview talking about that he had a hard time getting storylines on the show the first few seasons, and the majority of the storylines he was involved in were the ones written by Bricker and
Brandy and Bernie Capel. Yeah, we've noticed that's been very obvious, and it's interesting because this feels like the most crew, like all 5.
Yeah,
maybe we've had all season,
but I feel like it makes it better.
I mean,
I really do. I feel like the more crew, the better.
It can't be a coincidence. Well, you know what it does too? It reduces the variability of the guest stars.
Well, you're only getting so much of a lane to work in.
Right.
There's a structure, but I think that's the strong suit of the show, potentially.
Not every week.
Not every
And not every storyline has to be like that. But I do think it was a nice... There have been a lot of weeks this year where it's been like 2 of those crew members didn't do anything this week.
Yeah.
So. And
some of them, especially like a one with Doc. Doc's been great. But yeah, this week was good. It was a little light on Gopher. Light-ish, but not terribly.
No.
We're back from break. Stupid Phil tries to learn a little sign language. Good luck, because Phil's so dumb. From Sarah as they sit in the Pirates Cove. Oh, my favorite bar to hang out in. Back to the Pirates Cove. Marty interrupts and tells Phil to say goodbye to the groupie. Nice, Marty. Because he has to rehearse with, hey, who's the dame? Lose the skirt. Like, good Lord, Marty.
It gets better.
It does get better. You're absolutely right. There's a line here that he says he has to go rehearse with the tarantulas. Phil walks Sarah back to her cabin without explaining what's going on. Oh yeah, we'll be back. Isaac, he's waiting on the Smiths in the Pirates Cove, and he's listening to them plotting out high-tech ways to commit murder with things like lasers and microwaves. Okay.
Shout out to Singapore Slings, which is what the Smiths order, which is a gin-based fruit punch cocktail.
So it's kind of like Planter's Punch, but with
gin,
alcohol, instead of
I don't necessarily dance with gin, but I have had a couple of them, and they are obviously tasty and a very good boat drink. So.
Gin and tonic is such a wedding drink. I don't mind a gin and tonic. Maybe 1 or 2 of those. I don't love gin though.
Yeah, I mean, I think gin is a very good drink. It's just I've had some rough ones with gin, so it's just one of those. But
yeah.
One time I had it on a boat, and someone tried to murder me.
That's funny. Phil Backstrom, he's joining the captain's table for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And Gopher's so excited to introduce Phil as Deacon Dark to Captain Steubing. He tells Steubing that his music's a bit obscure. Gopher tells Steubing that he has all of his records. Steubing says the timing on this, what's about to happen here, is absolutely... I watched this thing a few times to get the timing on this. Steubing says he used to collect Teresa Brewer albums. And there's a pause, and there's a pause, and Gopher says, why? And it was just the perfect pause between them. Teresa Brewer, one of the most prolific and popular singers of the 50s, recorded somewhere around 600 songs. That's who that is.
Wow, catches a stray tonight.
But just,
did you catch?
Pew.
It would have been impossible for you not to catch because Gopher, for some reason, was just yelling in this scene to Steubing. Some of Deacon Dark's albums are titled "Screaming Voodoo Devil Boogie Woman."
Nice. That's
and
my
of course
one.
my personal favorite, "Step Step Step on Toads."
Dude,
so,
can the Deacon get any cooler? I don't think so. I'll tell you, if I'm Steubing and this buzzkill Phil joins me for dinner, I'd go, look, do us all a favor. we booked the Deacon. We didn't book Phil, lame old Phil. Come on. Phil brings nothing to the table.
I like Phil. I think he's a real songster.
The Deacon's the artist. This guy, he doesn't even, he knows nothing. He doesn't even know sign language. You know? Nothing. Stupid Phil. Not Deacon.
Never saw a rainbow.
By the way, I felt like that song when it started sounded an awful lot like Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
It sounds like a lot of late 70s songs that played like in a montage of a romantic movie. So
I wish somebody would use that song for a romantic montage in like a current movie.
I looked it up to see if it was a real song. I don't think it is, but it sure felt like a real song.
I will also say that there is a Deacon Dark cult following on the internet, by the way.
Yeah. It does feel like a very famous episode.
Yeah.
Like
you can get Deacon Dark t-shirts. I mean, obviously you can get them at the...
Not at our store. No, you can get Phil Backstrom's merch at our store.
Lame. What size do you wear? Oh, extra large. Here's a small. Because it's a stupid Phil t-shirt.
Now that I found Sarah. I mean, if you don't think all the lyrics are written when that song comes up, you, my friend, do not know me very well.
No way that those are written. I don't believe that. At dinner, I'm sorry. After dinner, he tells Doc about their plan. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. I'm so stuck on that Sarah thing. It just gets my brain all.
Isaac's telling Doc
about the plan, and Doc thinks Isaac's is a lunatic.
Yeah.
He says if they were going to murder the captain, it would be much easier to do something like poisonous sugar cubes. And just then, Isaac sees Mrs. Smith putting sugar cubes in her purse. Listen, I've heard of people putting sugar packets in their purse. Putting a sugar cube in your purse, that's just dirty. Like,
God,
that's nasty. You're going to pull that out.
Man, you're going to Mexico? What if you forget? That is going to be gross.
Oh, the temperatures?
Oh.
You're just going to have a sticky purse?
At least wrap that baby up.
Just something. Or put a hole in the bottom. It's a gimmick purse. It just falls right through.
Call Anderson. He's quick with the tea.
He's got jackets you can take. He's got sugar cubes you can take. He's holding a snake.
He's got a snake.
he's got grasshopper shots lined up on his coat rack. And I just wrote, I am openly rooting for the murder to happen at this point of the episode. And I highlighted that. Like, let's go. Enough talk. We see Gopher just hanging all over Lady Passenger.
Yeah. Eesh. Joanne,
he says, Joanne, what do you say we go into the Acapulco Lounge and boogie the night away? Isaac runs up to Gopher and asks for his help, and Gopher says, she needs my help more than you do, which made me kind of giggle. That was another timing one. Isaac's trying to explain the Smiths are going to poison the captain with a sugar cube. And Gopher and Joanne are like air smooching at each other. Like, Gopher's not listening to anything Isaac's saying. Gopher tells Isaac to keep Steubing in your sights, and if you need anything, to call him. We cut and we see Mitzi. Mitzi wants to dance, but Vinny don't want to dance. Yeah. You messed up my hair. He tells her that he'll catch up with her later. Mitzi then, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, let's unpack this, right?
Yes,
so Vinny says that he should have stayed at the tables, right? So theoretically, Mitzi drags him away from the tables. I assume he's not gambling in a tuxedo. So she drags him from the tables. He has to go back and get changed. He gets changed. He walks to the dining room, steps foot in the dining room for 2 seconds, and then decides this is a bad idea and splits. Like, have that argument back at the tables, Vinny.
Well, nobody talks about how indecisive Mitzi is. She's driving Vinny crazy. Oh, you're breaking my bees, Mitzi. I left the tables, like you said. I was just starting to, turn it around. I only lost several hundred. You can make me go back to the cab, put on a tuxedo, come here for dinner.
Dinner?
Last time I checked, there's no food in my hand. Oh,
yeah.
You want to dance? How about we eat something? Jeez. Settle down, Mitzi. Like a flea on a hot griddle. Like, just calm down.
Jeez. Oh, jeez.
Good Lord. Mitzi sees Doc and complains to him. And Doc, boy, he can't help himself, can he? He says, eyes as lovely as yours shouldn't be clouded with tears. Watch it, Doc. I said, careful, Doc. Vinny's going to whack you. You don't say that kind of stuff. Because she's just, ugh. That statement is why she went to his cabin later on to stay. You can't do that, man.
Yeah.
Doc dies. So now it's terrible. Mike, here we go. Let's stop mucking about here. In the Acapulco lounge, Captain Steubing sharing a dance with Sarah when suddenly, I always think of Vader time. It's Deacon Dark time. Vader time. Marty introduces him as the demented, the dangerous, the disgusting Deacon Dark. Holy crap. What can we say?
I mean, it's by far the most elaborate musical performance in terms of just set and
pyro.
I mean, they got pyro, they got other people in makeup, rather
dancers,
heavy set drummer, I believe. So
that was wild.
Yeah,
I wish we could have met the band. That would have been cool.
It's not just that, but we've seen the Acapulco Lounge, right? It's not that big that you're shooting off pyro. It's like when we used to go to the Sixers games and we sat right by the flames and it would get real hot.
Gets hot. Yeah, that's a potential, Inferno at sea type situation with that. I'm sure 1979 pyro wasn't completely figured out either.
It's just wild that they were able to take the European Roadshow and scale it down to this
one
level.
Suitcase in one carry-on bag. Mike, smash it, bash, trash it, hit it with a hammer,
bash it,
and bash it. Words can't describe this musical act to me. I've seen, with Isaac and his old friends, that was something that this is on a whole new level. Dare I say, future Stubby winning a musical.
I just have such a fondness for some of those other nominees that it's going to be tough, but it was a real song.
It was a real song.
Yeah,
it's a very quick song.
Yeah.
It's like and a 36-second song.
And he only played one song.
And I'm out. Wow, I guess the cruise is $39 if you only have to do.
Yeah, you got to think for your supper, but it's crackers.
Yeah, I'm not that hungry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have that water that Radar ate at the table. Give me that hot brown water.
Yeah.
Somehow the Acapulco Lounge is going nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? And Steubing looks very just. Maybe almost wary. It's undeniable the reception to it. Yeah. But I think he's just baffled. How the hell are they clapping? And he says he's no Jerry Vale.
Which is true.
That is true. He's not Jerry Vale. He's the Deacon. Come on. Later in the cabin, Mitzi's packing. Oh, I see trouble here. She's leaving Vinny because he can't give her affection or intimacy. And Vinny's reply is great. Are you going to swim home to your mother?
He's been sitting on that one.
Oh, it's such an old school, like,
this has got to be like,
oh.
This has got to be the fifth wife. And actually a couple husbands too, now that I think about it. We've had a lot of people packing mid-trip as a threat.
Oh, yeah.
And no one follows through on it. So
no, you're not going anywhere. You're crazy.
Cut the charade.
She says she's going to Doc's, and I wrote here, we could potentially have a 2-murder episode.
Oh, can you imagine?
Who knows? Oh. Isaac tells Captain Steubing the Smiths are trying to kill him via poison. The captain thinks it's just crazy. He probably thinks this is just as ridiculous as the people loving the Deacon. Come on, get out of here.
Good point.
Steubing thanks Isaac for looking out for him. Just as our buddy Anderson the Stewart's, but hey y'all, it's Anderson the Stewart. I'm back. Woo.
I got you some sweet tea.
Okay, I've got this snake and I got lots of stuff going on. I found sugar cubes in person. He shows up with some tea for the captain, but the captain didn't order any tea.
Nevertheless,
didn't. You can't get between me and my sugar cubes. He puts 3 sugar cubes in.
Like, what time is it?
Well,
I keep you up all night, Stu.
Because it's Steubing, I want to just rip it. I go, that seems like a lot of sugar cubes. You're Google. And they're like, no, that's pretty normal. And I was visibly disappointed that wasn't an egregious amount of sugar. I look, well, how much of sugar is in a sugar cube? Just searching for ways to get this guy. Just looking for every loophole. Yeah, I said felt like 3 was a lot for such a small cup of tea. But who am I to?
Yeah, I guess I don't really know sugar cube. I would put it this way: I wouldn't put 3 sugar packets in a cup of coffee. So, but if I'm at a diner, I will go like this for days. So.
Yeah, you'll do it. Just you got to reset. Then you got to do, and you got to reset. It's for your own protection. He puts in the sugar cubes. He looks a little suspicious, but he drinks it anyway because it's Steubing. Nothing's going to get between me and my treat. Now makeup-free lame Phil finds Sarah in the moonlight and tries to explain that he knows he doesn't have the best act, but it's successful.
Yep.
Why is this guy so ashamed of being the freaking Deacon? I don't just go with it. What is wrong with you?
Well, it almost felt like he did one of those moves where he just started talking. I don't even know if Sarah agreed or not. Like, it was just like he was projecting. He was talking
to himself, I think. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He apologizes for disappointing her and then walks away Funicello style. Just, head down, talking to my toes. Unbelievable. And that takes us to our second break.
Quickly.
We are
one note on the Steubing.
Yeah.
One note on the Steubing tea thing is he didn't actually drink it because he had a voiceover, yet another voiceover from the book. And I guess the what he had just read was basically the main character saying the exact words that he had said about, no one wants to murder me. And then he blanched at the tea, and that's how he kind of realized that maybe the game was afoot.
Okay. That makes sense.
I know you were bloodthirsty by this point, so it didn't matter.
I'm still looking up sugar cube statistics. Just finding anything. It's just again, we're at the second break. This thing is moving. Like, what
so much.
Great episode.
Yep.
We're back. We see Mitzi running to Doc's office and Vinny following. She tells Vinny to go away and she locks herself in Doc's bathroom. Vinny tells Doc to make Mitzi fall out of love with you and back in love with me. So already Vinny's like, you know what I mean? Vinny's a couple drinks away from, beating the crap out of Bricker at this point. So he said, Doc says, look, hey, we're only friends. And Vinny says, then you won't mind if I break that door down with your face. Things are getting interesting on the boat. All right.
Yeah.
I wish the Smiths had this sort of vigor.
Hey,
You know
Doc,
what I mean?
we didn't bring it up, but Doc, you kissed my wife full on the lips when we got here. So let's calm
That's
down with
crazy.
the friend bullshit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we know what's going on. Doc tries to get Mitzi out of the bathroom. It doesn't work. She wants Vinny gone. Vinny's like, hey, if I gotta go, you gotta go too. And Doc's excuse, this is my favorite interaction.
This was great.
Doc says, but I'm a doctor. And Vinny says, well, you ain't operating tonight.
That was great.
I giggled out loud. It just got me. That's so funny.
That was the turn on Vinny where I was like, okay, they know what they're doing. This isn't going to be just redundant, so yeah.
I feel like Vinny got better throughout the course. Like
Which is what's supposed to happen in storylines like this, not just the same thing for an hour. So
no, I agree. Steubing calls Isaac and Gopher into his office and says he's made a list of people who might want him dead. I have a list too. I'm going to share it with you in just a second. That
do you think it's the same list that he gave him for the anniversary party last week?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think he wants these two people showing up. Perhaps the Smiths were sent by someone, and Smith isn't their real name. So I started an enemies list for Steubing. 2 entries. Type 2 diabetes and No Donut November are his 2 biggest enemies. They've pooled their money and they're ready to take him out.
So other people on the list, right? The German guy who he didn't take the job.
Maybe Stacy,
but
I don't know if that's the same kind of enemy or that's just like standard X,
Dr. Todd, because didn't Steubing fool around with his wife?
He did fool around with his wife.
The family of Vicky's adopted father, who Steubing, didn't we decide Steubing killed him with his rice?
Killed him. Yeah, it was ugly. And they tried to cover his tracks. It's next year they do a flashback episode. And
of course, the number one suspect, Mike Taylor.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know where I was. We were, okay. I will say Gopher arguably would have a reason to be on his enemies list, if for no other reason than he told him to go outside in a hurricane and take a look at the roof, and then a palm tree almost killed him. That is true. Which, by the way, speaking of stubbies, that still is coming in pretty hot on the worst moment list. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Gopher and Isaac both wearing robes, and I am pretty sure Isaac is wearing the same robe that Woody Billingsley wore when he punched his son a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Because they recycle the robes.
Yeah. So there's one robe.
We did have a good smack hit in the face. Doc falls asleep in Vinny's cabin, and he's woken up by Vinny at 3 a.m.
All the lights are on, too. Doc can fall asleep anywhere.
Well, that's, medication aided. You know that. I can sleep on a dime. He's out. Yada da da. See? Adam's in control today. He's just. Vinny says if he loses Mitzi, he'll go crazy. Doc saying, look, just compliment her eyes or hair or whatever, quote, whatever you happen to be looking at. Smooth. Vinny begins his compliments by comparing Mitzi's skin to a cue ball. That beautiful shade of white on a cue ball. That's beautiful. Doc sits him down. He's like, look, I'm going to help you. All right, we're going to figure this out. Boom, fast forward next afternoon. Lame-ass Phil apologizing to Sarah in front of some crazy backdrop with these mountains. It was really...
Boy, they are getting their money's worth out of that green screen this week.
Oh, that's a good one, too. He tells her he doesn't want all those props and gimmicks. Boy, he's still talking to himself, isn't he, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think Sarah's even there.
He's just talking at her. Say he doesn't want all those props and gimmicks, but his manager doesn't understand. All feelings Phil wants to do is write songs and sing. He wrote a song for Sarah. Of course he did, because that's not too much too soon. He pulls a piece of paper out and hands it to Sarah and says, pretend it's poetry and pretend it's good.
This is like if you were being wooed by a chef and they show up on the deck and they just drop all the ingredients on you and walk away. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, Phil. That doesn't count.
The Deacon wouldn't have these issues. This just, he's just clueless, man. We're poolside in the Lido deck, and we see like this weird horse racing thing happen. I don't know what the hell's going on.
They never gave you a clean shot. There's probably zero chance it's actual horses. I kind of assumed it was like people in the pool.
That's what I thought it was like. For a second, I couldn't really see it, but I was like, is it like a bikini horse racing thing? Like they had, but how do you bet on it if it? Yeah, it's like people had wooden horse. I don't know. I don't know what was going. So,
but Vinny was like, I will gamble on this.
Yeah, anything. Anything. So, if you haven't seen the episode or you're about to see the episode, there was a scene. It was like a different colored wooden cutouts of horses, almost, to make them look unique, and then it was
probably like a Renaissance fair kind of thing, but like. Gopher is the track announcer, but it's shot from behind him and far away. It's weird.
I thought the finish would be near the camera. Right. I thought that's maybe why they did that, to see there. But we also, hold on a second. So at this point, Doc goes to get Mitzi so Vinny can give her a compliment. I didn't want to introduce Shady Fellow number 1. I wanted to make sure I didn't misplace that. Sarah heads to Julie's cabin and signs that she's in love with Phil. Slow down, Sarah. Slow down.
The man wrote her a song, Mike.
It's a bit much. On the second day you've known somebody?
I mean, to be fair, he's also got $1.5 million in the bank.
Waist deep in Deacon groupies. Are you kidding me?
Sarah. And he's got a snake.
Maybe. That snake might have died, all those grasshoppers. I don't know. No one's seen the snake.
Poor Irving.
Poor Irving. Award-winning, possibly, animal. But she doesn't know how to tell Phil that she loves him. How could she possibly? Okay.
No.
Especially because he doesn't know sign language.
He's getting there.
Julie says she needs to go tell him. That's just me and Mike.
Then along came Sarah.
And I wrote here, is this Julie or Dr. Phil? Seemed like pretty obvious advice.
To the light.
Still not convinced that Julie knows more than 4 words in sign language. She's not really proving anything. Slow down, Sarah. You've said 1 word. You've signed 1.
Wouldn't it be funny if the only thing she knows is red-blooded, full-grown American woman?
I'm just watching for my name. Woo. Mitzi sees Vinny on the Lido deck, and this is where Vinny is handing a very Italian-looking and very shady-looking gentleman with brown sort of fade sunglasses and a leather jacket on poolside, and he asked him to put money on. I couldn't make on. Blah, 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 blah. You couldn't make out what he was saying.
Yeah,
just odd extra.
It's just funny that there's a boat bookie. Like it's just
odd, yeah, like boat book.
It's not 2025. This isn't like the DraftKings boat. Like
how did he get on the boat? Did you? Where did you come from? We parachuted in from.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, I heard there's action on this boat.
Yeah, it's one guy, and 1 horse race with wooden. Okay.
Yeah.
Vinny tries to say something romantic, but he's only repeating what the crew member. What would Gopher saying about the horses? He can't pay attention to anything other than his horse race. Your nose, your nostrils are flaring much like the blue horse, which is coming around the bend.
It's a lot of like neck and neck. So he says your neck down the home stretch. So he says stretch. What is Slinky? What is Goof?
This is terrible, man. This is terrible. And if you broke your leg, I would not shoot you. I would not take you out of the race.
Weirdly, it's the worst scene of the whole episode, just because I was disappointed that they didn't give us more horse racing, and then this was kind of lame. So, but
I wanted to see how the horse racing played out, to be honest with you. We're back to the captain. We see Isaac, the captain, and Gopher overhearing the Smiths say that they need to finish off the captain tonight, since they have already received the contract for the next one.
It's their busy season.
Busy season. Steubing decides to confront them. Very un-Steubing-like thing to, decision to make. But good for you. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
They walk off. The Smiths are delighted and ask the captain, to help because they're having a difficult time with the murder. They walk off, and the captain's even more confused than he was about why people like the Deacon. He's thinking now they want him to participate in his own murder plan. So now he's just like, what? And we go to our third break.
Isaac looked great in his bodyguard sunglasses.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Is it not the best outfit for a bodyguard to wear? A bright red jacket? I don't know. So.
Yeah, and sunglasses at night doesn't seem like a very, if you're supposed to be alert, you can't see anything.
You can't get anybody to wear sunglasses during the day.
No, but at night, suddenly everyone's got sunglasses. Everyone's a security officer now. We're back. Vinny's carrying a pink stuffed animal and meets Doc in the elevator. And he asks Doc, look, can you give her this stuffed animal and a note? He wants to say goodbye to her. Vinny's just accepting defeat at this point.
Yeah.
Which, come on, Vinny. You never accept defeat.
Like UCLA just lost the big game by 8.5.
Vinny comes up with the idea of having Doc tell him what to say as he talks to Mitzi through the cabin door. Like in the movie, Syl de Bertajac. Oh.
I did like that Doc immediately called it out even before the mispronunciation. He was like, this sounds familiar. Like I did like that little bit. So
we're back to Sarah. Sarah finds Phil in the Pirate's Cove. Here's a line coming up here shortly. It's going to... Sarah finds Phil in the Pirate's Cove, leads him out the door and to the piano.
I assume this is the Richard Dawson practice piano.
Has to be during the day. I think you only wheel it out during the day.
Yeah.
Put it away at night. She, quote unquote, asks him to play the song he wrote for her so she can feel it with her hands on the piano. I'll tell you what she can't feel are these lyrics, Mike. Am I right?
Never saw a rainbow, only saw the rain.
Let me say this. This is where the beginning is where it sounds an awful lot like the Rainbow Connection, which came out around the same time.
Then along came Sarah.
So I wonder who wrote this song for the show.
Sweet and Loving Sarah. In the IMDb, it looks like Sonny Bono wrote it.
Oh, good for
But that doesn't. It wasn't like super obvious, but there wasn't like a listing of somebody else under the song. I don't know how much you can trust the soundtrack information on a TV show from 1979, but
imagine Deep Cut. He plays this song live in like 81 in Aspen.
It's a good song, Mike.
Sarah.
Took my hand, led me to the light.
We're Gopher. He's dressed as Captain Steubing.
Now I see.
And he's going to act as a decoy to keep Steubing safe. I wrote, he almost gets killed by a palm tree as he was following Steubing's orders. And now this. So now you're going to... That's a lot to ask for an assistant purser. I'd make Anderson do this.
Anderson?
Yeah, why isn't Anderson dressing like Steubing in this thing?
Well, to be fair, I think Gopher volunteered for this. Like, it wasn't one of those...
That's true.
Steubing, to your point earlier, when he confronted the Smiths, Steubing is acting very captainly, and I think he's in reserved mode in terms of his fear and planning. He's not like... He freaked out a lot more about a lot less.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
So.
100%. We see Phil telling Marty that he'll only perform as himself from now on. Great, Phil. Thanks. No more makeup, no more gimmicks. Here we go, Marty. Marty's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And Phil says, but I sang my song for Sarah and she loved it. In the most Phil tone I can speak in. And Marty says, oh yeah? How many records did deaf people buy? Oh, even Vinny was like, oh.
It was
Wow.
so mean, but they played it. There was no laugh track. There was no music. It was like a legitimate acting scene with Artie Johnson and Sonny Bono. And God damn it, it was good.
It was good. It was good because Marty, he sold, like, it was believable.
Artie Johnson was so good to the point where I don't understand why Artie Johnson was not like the scummy agent on every show for the next 30 years. Like 100%. He could have been the dude from Entourage.
Oh, he was the guy from Entourage.
Yeah.
But even in a more, I completely agree. I think that the combination of Bono and him, fantastic, number one.
The only thing he did wrong was not appreciate how great that second song was. If only we could hear it again later in the episode.
There's no way. They make a point not to double up on the songs.
It'd be weird to have 3 songs in the same show, too.
There's no way. There's no way. Vinny and Doc arrive at Doc's cabin to execute their Cyrano plan. They give it a try, but Vinny's so bad, he just can't. He can't even repeat. It's just terrible.
The funny part is the initial part of his plan is that there's no way she'll want to see him, so she'll keep the door shut, and then she starts to open the door.
Well, and then Mitzi opens the door and sees that it's Doc, but she like hugs Doc anyway because she's just so happy about it. And Vinny says, "Hey, I meant everything that he said, that Doc said." Okay.
Yeah. Doc doing a pretty accurate Charlie Callis impression, honestly.
Fine. Doc sets them straight and tells them to give it a chance. Doc tells Vinny to be himself. Listen, that's the problem, Doc. Vinny is always being himself.
His self is very dumb.
It's very gambly. He gives a gambling related compliment and then says, "Without you, I'd croak." And Mitzi reacts like this is the sweetest thing anybody's ever said to her, which is kind of sad. They hug and they smooch. Good for them. Yep. Isaac and Captain Steubing discover the murder mystery novel they were reading was written by Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They're authors. Now keep in mind, Gopher's out there dressed as the captain. Now for no reason at all. But Gopher doesn't know that. So,
right. So I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So if you're going to write under a nom de plume or a pseudonym, my guess is that you wouldn't put your picture on the back cover jacket.
No, well, at least use a different name if you're going to check into the ship. Like, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I'm saying like this best-selling book,
big old picture,
has their picture on it. What's the point of having this other name as the author?
They should have made a deal about like we lost the book jacket or something just to explain like because
see that's a good
something would have
that is good.
So there's
it wasn't the biggest. It wasn't the biggest reveal in the world. No. You would have to be pretty stupid to not know how this was going.
So the Smiths are sitting down. They pop a bottle of champagne, and the champagne cork hits Gopher in the butt. Well, Gopher thinks he was shot because he's dressed as Steubing, and the Smiths are unfortunately not trying to kill Steubing as we thought, or as Isaac thought. Gopher immediately apologizes for the blood on his uniform. Jeez, PTSD. Did you apologize? I'm sorry, my uniform is wrinkled after the palm tree fell on it.
Yeah.
Steubing arrives and sets everything straight, and they all have a good laugh about it. Oh boy. Later in the Acapulco Lounge, we're back.
Now I see the rainbow.
Stupid ass Phil's back again.
Don't mind the rain.
And he's singing the Sarah song
Sarah's
again.
here.
Now in front of people.
Nothing is the same.
And I do say that
Oh, my world is magic.
it's not better the second time I'm hearing the song.
Since
Not
she
from you singing
smiled
it.
at me.
But the audience loves it.
Julie is sitting at the table with Artie, drinking a drink, and pardon my language, I fucking Sonny Bono so hard. She is so into this song. She is slurping that straw, and she is gonna take Artie Johnson home or jump over that piano.
Somebody.
This song,
you know what it is because she's like, man, I wish someone would write a song about me like that. That's what that is.
I think this song is going to be a massive hit for women. Love this song. Sonny Bono / Phil Backstrom / Deacon Dark.
It's the best song. It's the best Kiss song.
He's got a big hit.
He's got a huge hit. They love it. Phil and Sarah smooch, and we go to our final break. Humming along, Sarah.
I have found you, Sarah. Oh. I can never, ever let you go.
Mitzi gives Doc a goodbye smooch. Mitzi thanks Doc. If I was Doc, I'd be like, no, no need for that. Mitzi thanks Doc, says he'll be getting a bottle of champagne every year on their anniversary. So he'll be getting no bottles of champagne. That's what's going to happen. Vinny gives Doc a hug and thanks him. I thought that was kind of cool. Phil and Sarah from the song Sarah, Stupid Phil, are leaving the ship as Marty tells Phil that the press is waiting for him. Marty tells him that he needs a new tie and a new jacket and says, you should look more like Jerry Vale. Hey, wait, but...
There you go.
There you go.
This press corps is going to be very confused because they have not been on the boat this whole time.
They're not going to know who he is. He's just going to walk right by.
So is this like a Chris Gaines situation?
If only Chris Gaines wore both? Only if Chris Gaines wore grease paint on his face. I mean, that's the only difference.
There's no reason he can't do both, right?
No.
Right.
No, I don't see why. I mean, there's
going to make $3 million next year.
Right. I mean, I'm fine with it.
No wonder he can see the rainbow and doesn't mind the rain.
He can see the cash flow. That's what he can see.
And I don't mind the change.
Phil and Sarah.
We should Weird Al this Phil Backstrom.
Oh yeah. You could do that. Phil and Sarah sign "I love you" to each other, and they leave the ship. Good for them.
There you go.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Steuben finishes their book, and he's very much he's being fanboy Merrill right now.
Yeah. He held on. He held tight.
He held tight. They say the story came together. That's why they were drinking champagne. Steuben asks,
that's why we shot your purser.
Yeah, it's why he's got blood on his knickers. Racho. They won't tell him, Steuben, how the captain dies, and you have to wait and see. And the name of the book is Murder on the High Seas.
Murder on the High Seas.
Julie sees that Isaac is a copy of Murder in Eden. Isaac hands the book to Julie and says that the bus driver did it. Wah, wah, and did one of those freeze.
Oh, my God. I've been waiting for something like this. First of all, Julie was so good at the small stuff this week.
Yeah.
But, she hears it, turns, flips the book in the air, and it freeze frames.
Perfect.
Oh, my God. Just a perfect ending to a perfect episode of television.
Great, fantastic episode. Really, really is. And that is end of episode. No postseason, no post-scene portals. Good ending.
I did wait though, which makes me mad now that I have to do that. But for this one, I didn't care. So totals and a recap. Best episode of the season right now is episode 3. The worst one, we have a pile. Well, you start.
Oof. I would say that there's a strong argument that this is the best episode of the season.
Yeah.
But it's tough because number 3 was so long ago. It's tough to.
Well, and we're always going to run into that, right?
But at this moment,
yeah,
I haven't felt like this in a long time after watching one of these episodes.
I think, and I partially am going off of the fact that because the stubbies are coming up, I re-listened to our episode 3, and so I kind of at least have a context of where we were with that stuff. And I think I have garnered a greater appreciation for that whole Captain Dave storyline, which had some gravitas. There's no gravitas in this one, right? I mean, there's no,
it's light. It's light.
Which is perfectly fine.
Which is exactly. Which is. I just think they nailed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I would still lean towards 3, but I mean, I think you can make an argument with either being really good. And like we said at the beginning, this is incredibly rewatchable. Now, I will say we ran into a version of this at the end last year with the O'Rourke episode, which is a little different. But I also think there's some context of these episodes lately have been so bad that it does make
the
something like this
alone
a lot better too.
Well,
I think if I had to decide right now, I would say 3 is slightly better only because of the higher end acting, the drama, that kind of thing. Because you still got the silliness in that one, right? Like the Casanova was very silly.
Oh, sure it was. Sure it was.
The weak argument for 3, oddly enough, is the Sonny Bono storyline. Not that he wasn't bad, but it was clearly a third storyline.
Yeah. I could see it a couple of ways. Yeah, I can't definitively say this is better than 3, and I can't necessarily say 3 is better than this.
Yeah.
I'd say they're in the same sort of.
If only,
if only
there was some sort of award show to decide this once and for all. So
that'll never happen. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is good for us in that by the time we get to the end of the season, maybe it's better that we don't have a clear one and, we'll kind of figure it out as we go. But I think it's a pretty much a 2-horse race now, maybe even a 2-wooden horse race at this point. So.
Even better. I will say, yeah.
Sonny Bono's in both of those. So think about that.
I will say that, this is a good one.
Yeah.
I agree. We're in the same boat.
Captain of the Week.
Come on. How can it be anybody other than Deacon Dark? Nobody else had pyro and a snake and grease paint on his face. He was awesome in every way imaginable.
Yeah. It's obviously Sonny Bono because while you didn't like Phil Backstrom, he did play a second character. And we haven't had that if you don't count
like
Harold Gould pretending to be Steubing, which wasn't really.
No.
Because
he couldn't wear a hat.
Yeah. So, I mean, just an amazing effort. And the fact that he also sang.
3 songs.
I think it's really I've always enjoyed Sonny Bono, but kind of like as almost like not a serious person.
Comedy, just comedy. Yeah.
And this was like an actual great effort.
I thought you did a great job.
You're right. You can easily make an argument that this is the best performance we've seen of anybody doing anything this year. Which was not the sentence I expected to say at the beginning.
No, me neither.
I am going to give a shout out to Artie Johnson, as I've been saying, just solid. Pitch perfect. And we've seen this with some of the villains this year where they give them the quick turn at the end and it's like either they can't play it or it wasn't
right.
It was all true, right? It was all true to it. And he still was kind of like being the scumbag at the end. Mm-hmm. It was just a scumbag for a different act. But, it was like.
Well, yeah, exactly. He didn't turn over a new leaf, which sort of ruins the integrity of the character. If it's I just need the opportunity to completely do a 180. Yeah. You're no. I agree. I can't argue with that. I think that's a good choice as well.
Yeah, I would say, except for Tina Louise, that was probably the most surprising performance just in terms of kind of what I thought Artie Johnson was versus, there were some real nasty things in here, and he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
This was hard this week. Walk the plank.
Phil Backstrom. Goodbye. You want to play 2 characters? Don't play the coolest character and then the least cool character. Phil stinks.
First of all, Irving the Snake was cooler than Deacon Dark, but that's wow.
That's true. Yeah.
I was so stuck for one because I actually liked Phil, that I voted for the whole horse racing thing. Them not showing us enough horse racing, not explaining it. Where'd that bookie come from?
What half-ass scene that was. It's just like,
yeah.
But we're going to go on the far side, so they can't really see anything.
Don't show Don't show anything. Or you know what I originally thought it was almost like a simulcast, which would have made sense. I don't know how you would have done it.
They wouldn't have had that back then. Shipped ashore. So takes a week to set that up.
Listen,
you can bet on this horse race that's going to happen next week right now. That kind of thing.
That's how the Sting worked. Maybe they're just doing the Sting.
That's it.
But a very pleasant totals and a recap for this week.
Email, Mike. We did get a new email. Game Show Spoiled is the name of the email.
Oh no. This could go a lot of ways.
Watching Buzzer, which I think is like a game show network.
Okay.
And realizing I can no longer watch the Gene Rayburn and Fannie Flagg banner on the match game without bracing myself for an impending robot makeout session. Love the podcast. Thanks for the laughs and the memories. And then he asked an interesting question here. Is there any way to find out what the network used as their original commercial for each episode? Like Florence Henderson joins the crew on a very special episode.
Wow.
And that's a good one. And he signs off, "Go Phils," from our new friend Greg. So thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
That's a good point. I would love to.
So I think you can find some like promos on YouTube. Yeah, like if you put in like Love Boat 1979, there'll be a couple of those like ABC, like tonight on the Love Boat, so
yeah.
So yeah, maybe we can certainly look around for those.
Or at the end of the show prior. Remember they would sometimes have a little something.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if I can find something.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love that. I would love the commercials.
Yeah.
I
would love it. Thanks again for that email. We love email. Reach out to us at theloveboatproject@gmail.com.
They're all so good. All our emailers are so good.
They're so good.
Yeah.
It's just quality emails. We so appreciate that. Plug time, Mike. Hitting season Patreon, absolutely hammered. Whether you're cheering from the stands or tuning in from home, this is the podcast you need. Grab your bat, your cap, and your Phillies pride. Crack open a beer and enjoy a weekly Phillies happy hour with Chris Jones, Justin Clue, and our very own Mike Robertson. Check out Absolutely Hammered on the Hitting Season Patreon.
It's opening day this week, actually. So somehow the baseball season is starting. So yeah,
it's amazing.
We're back in it every week. So.
I will be making the journey for the first time with my little guy.
Very excited.
Out for an early season game. Very excited about that. You can hear me on SiriusXM's Fish Radio on a show called Crowd Control. You can find us everywhere and anywhere you find your audio podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, Podchaser, Player FM, and my favorite, Deezer. I did a little research on Deezer, Mike.
Okay, because I did a little research on Deezer. Go ahead.
Please. No. Go ahead.
While it is your favorite, apparently it is not the favorite of our listeners.
No,
based on the numbers that we're getting from Deezer.
Not a lot of Deezer. So Deezer is interesting because it allows you to not only stream songs, but I guess you can download them and play them while your phone is offline. It's good if I have to really explain the benefit of Deezer. But we love them. Thanks,
Is this
Deezer.
An ad? Wait, was that an ad for Deezer? Are you getting Deezer money that I'm not seeing?
I can't talk about it. It's very small percentage of Deezer. They're a small company. I actually started Deezer. Please hit that subscribe button and leave a review. You can also check out our video podcast on YouTube. Again, hit that subscribe button. Don't be afraid to leave a review and like those videos. Also, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Look for weekly reels and updates. Next episode, Mike. That's a big one. I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. Episode 49. We welcome the lovely, the talented, the always entertaining Corey Feldman to the boat next time. What curveball? And Charo's back, and Jerry Stiller's back too. But Corey Feldman. Hello.
Yeah, and we may have a guest. We're working on scheduling, but when you think of Charo, you definitely will think of our guest. But,
absolutely.
No, I'm excited to see. She will be the first returning character
within the same,
right? Like the actual same character. Like we're not counting Anderson or the radio guy, but like the actual like cross seasons. I mean, she was back in what was that like episode 4 or 5, something like that. Like it's been a while.
The second stowaway after Ritter.
Oh right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see how they. I'm curious to see how she enters the boat. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be, that kind of thing. I just want to see the circumstances in which she returns to the boat, and don't forget, beautiful Jerry Stiller.
I'm very excited about Stiller and Mira being on. That is going to be fun. So it should lining up for another good episode. God forbid we have 2 good ones in a row. This is what's going to happen, right? These last 3 episodes are going to be great. We're going to be like, all right, and the season's over.
And then we get right into the Juno.
Juno
season.
Julie.
So
yeah,
there's opportunity there. We'll see.
Who knows? Things are going well.
Anything else before we wrap this thing up, Mike?
No, it's weird having a good feeling about an episode. I'm
pumped up right now. Like
I didn't say like this episode stinks or like God, why is it still going? Or
I didn't drop one F-bomb the whole thing. I didn't get mad enough.
No, it was a really good episode. And like I said, the thing that really struck me last night when I watched it was the rewatchability. Like
it's fantastic, dude.
I could watch that again and be fine with it.
100%.
So
100%. And the thing is, if Mrs. Taylor was like, hey, can you show, pick a Love Boat episode and show me.
Oh,
I might pick this episode.
She'd love this.
She would love it. Well,
Big Phil Backstrom. Yeah.
Wow. She's a little more Molly. So we'll
there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough booze in this one.
Enough booze. Boo. Boo. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next time.
All a rainbow.
This song's going to be
only saw the rain.
All right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get out of here.